Welcome to the Innovative Systems Podcast, Broadband Breakdown, where we dive into real-life challenges broadband leaders are facing and help them find solutions. This is your space for innovative ideas and expert solutions. Let's get started.
Jenni, thanks for joining today.
Glad to be here.
So, I wanted to chat with you today about your guys' CLECing efforts up in the Des Moines area and MyFiber. Can you tell me a little bit about what kind of jumped that off? What got you guys started on that?
Sure. Way back in the 20-teens when National Broadband Plan was a big concern, we got to talking about how we might replace that income to our company if USF went away. What would we do? We decided to stick with what we know, which is broadband, but go somewhere where there's a lot more potential market for the broadband. Our area it's pretty rural and not a lot of growth, so we looked at several areas of growing population in North Missouri, Southern Iowa. We looked around the Kansas City area, we looked around St. Joseph, Missouri, some other medium-sized towns, and then we also looked in the Des Moines area. We identified the first city that we went into in Des Moines was Waukee. It was one of the fastest growing cities in the nation actually at the time, and was a really great choice. We overbuilt all of Waukee, and then through various methods and reasons, we expanded then into most of the other suburbs around the city of Des Moines.
Wow. So I don't want to say throw a dart, but you did go outside. It's not contiguous to your properties or anything like that. It is. What's the nearest ILEC area to your CLEC area? How far is that distance?
Our closest business office to our Des Moines office, the closest ILEC office is in Leon, Iowa, which is right about an hour from our office in Des Moines.
Okay.
The whole thing's been possible through our partnership, of course, with Arion. Arion has a network throughout the Des Moines area, so it's actually a very, very good work with them to get service pretty much wherever we want to have it in the Des Moines area.
Gotcha. So you had that basically backbone in place already through your partner Arion.
Right. Yes.
Wonderful. So what was it like basically starting a whole new brand as a ILEC, and what challenges did you run into going right into as a CLEC in an area where no one knew your name and who you were?
Yeah, it was really crazy. I turned up the first customers in 2017, and when I say first customers, it was a very small group of customers coming from our ILEC area. We were so used to being known as the provider. People just know us. They trust us. We've been in the community forever. We're active in supporting all of the different groups and organizations and schools, and was starting all fresh up there. It became very clear that you needed to make a lot of good partnerships, a lot of good relationships with various groups like the city employees and the chambers of commerce, the economic development groups, and try to help get your name out. When we started, the only competition really in those cities was MediaCom and CenturyLink, Lumen, whoever they are.
Whatever they are now.
And of course, those were the names people know. Des Moines is actually growing largely for people moving into the state from other places or from outstate in, and those are the names they know. If you're moving in, you look for internet service, you're looking for a name that you know. So we had to find ways to get our name in front of them before they got signed up and signed a contract with those providers. Now that we've been there, I guess it's been over 8, almost 9 years now. It's obviously been a really good business plan because now we also have Google Fiber and we have MetroNet / T-Fiber growing in the area. So they have also identified it as a good place to be and a good place to grow.
So you say these partnerships, that had to be a lot of feet on the street to get that going. Is that pretty accurate, or a lot of time spent up there trying to get those first few customers locked up, or did you find some developers right away and knock out some subdivisions, or how did you go about it?
That's actually a combination of both of those things that you said. So first it was all the feet on the street. It was all hands on deck from GRM Networks to establish the brand and get things going up there. When we started the company, I was HR and regulatory I had nothing to do with marketing. I had nothing to do with business development, but it was necessary that everybody just roll up their sleeves and get involved and do what they could where they could. So I spent a lot of my time up in the Des Moines office working on things like I said, Chamber of Commerce, getting involved on the economic development committees and going to the city council meetings. Then also just hiring employees, finding people who could do the work that you could trust. Down here, when you hire someone, it's because you know their aunt or uncle, or you've worked with them at another company and you know you can bring them down. It's a whole new world trying to hire people that you don't know everything about them, and making sure that they are going to represent you like you want them to. And
that's such a key employee. Those first few employees, they really set the reputation, the culture of that area, things like that. So
absolutely, and they're going to represent you, whether they're talking to customers or just driving up the highway or working with the city employees. So the other thing that we did besides developing the community involvement and input from those individuals was working with the developers. So when we first overbuilt Waukee, some of the major developers that were building, the new housing developments came to us and said, hey, CenturyLink said they'd be here a month ago and they still don't have service. And we have, 15 houses with people living in them and they don't have internet. They're building these smart houses and they don't have anything to run the smart side of things. And people were not happy. It was causing the developers headaches and heartaches. So we showed them that we would do what we said we would do. We told them, we'll get it done. We'll be there and have service up by a certain date. And once they saw that we meant it and that we were nimble enough, we could respond quickly, then they would come to us and say, hey, you got this built. Are you in West Des Moines? Are you in Ankeny? Are you in the other side of town in Pleasant Hill? And as they were building new developments in those areas, we would evaluate if there was enough size or potential growth there, see if we could pop up and set up another part of our network in that area. That's really what pushed us out into the rest of the city.
Was the other developers. That's once you got that reputation, it's great. And those are nice size houses that definitely need broadband.
They definitely do. We went to a city council meeting in Altoona, which is northeast kind of side of Des Moines. When we were first getting started up, we'd finished up Waukee, but we were kind of considering other areas. We went to a city council meeting to talk with the city and the mayor and find out if there was a need there, because one of the developers had told us, he had a development that didn't have any service. After the meeting, a lady came up to me and said, we need you so bad. I have this house. I've been here. I think she'd been in her house almost 6 months. She was the first one in the development. But she had a small child who had a health condition that every morning they had a medical monitor that had to report in to upload the medical data. And every morning she's loading up this sick baby and driving to the library to sit for 30 minutes or so while that data uploaded. She's just like, so Stacy and I became like best friends. She got my cell phone number and she and I talked, I'm not kidding, every Friday between then and when we got service to her house. She was going to hold me to it. When I said, if we tell you we're going to come, we're going to be there. She was going to make sure that I didn't forget her. So. And
you didn't. And you guys probably did great up there. Like basically local services, relationships, and your nimble flexibility has really made a difference differentiating from the big guys, you'd say.
Yes, absolutely. Kind of another funny story about being nimble and differentiating ourselves. We were building out another subdivision that already had lumen service, and they didn't get all their lines marked, so our contractor accidentally cut one of their lines. Was not on purpose, but accidentally cut the lumen line, so that whole development just went dark. They didn't have any service whatsoever. We found out about it. Of course, CenturyLink didn't respond very quickly to get the service repaired, but because of the nature of our size and our responsiveness, we were able to expedite our construction, get construction finished, and contact those folks and tell them, if you want service, we're ready. So, within a little more than a week and a half, I think, we were able to get everything going, get all those customers cut over to our service, and Lumen still hadn't fixed the cut fiber.
I don't know if I brag about that or not. I mean, super effective, but They failed on the
I would
market.
not recommend doing that on purpose, but just an example of responding when people need you.
That's awesome. So, being in like a CLEC environment like that, how does price play into everything? Like,
Price?
I mean, do you find it differently pricing than your ILEC, and do you find it being the number one driver?
Price is becoming more and more of an issue. The more that the big guys come in, and yeah, honestly, that's the first thing that people look at really when they're looking to buy service. They're looking to compare prices and can they afford it. It's not the only thing, but yeah, it's important. We do have different pricing in the CLEC than we do in the ILEC, and you have to be conscious of various promotions that your competitors are putting out. We have employees and friends in the area who will give us a heads up when they're starting to get a new bombardment of materials from various providers. You have to really be conscious of it, but you can't let them drag you into that race to the bottom either.
No. But with that, then, I know you're Chief Revenue Officer, so you have a marketing team of how many?
Well, in my fiber, we have a marketing/sales team of one.
Okay.
Plus me.
Plus you.
Yeah, one, yes. Then the support, of course, all of the ILEC side as well. You have to be so creative with a marketing budget like we have compared to Google Fiber or
Right.
T-Fiber.
So what are some of the fun things that's worked real well for you then?
We found some interesting things that, again, it's just stuff that we don't think about in the ILEC area, like finding those new movers. You need to talk to people before they move into their new house, because once they move in, internet and electricity is going to be the first couple things that they want to get set up, and they're going to want those before they move in. Well, if you're sending a mailer to that house, they're not going to see that until after they're in. So we found some services that provide information on new movers, and of course working with the chambers. There's one that we have not used yet, but I'm still fascinated by them. They're called the Hummingbirds, and they're micro social influencers that are focused in a city.
Really?
It's an interesting new one that I want to check out some more. And then the standard door to door, go knocking on doors and maybe just leaving flyers. You don't necessarily have to talk to people. Talking to them is good, but just making sure every time their eyeballs see your logo, it's going to help make them remember you and think about you. We learned things like in some of the bigger cities, you need permits before you go knocking on doors in the neighborhoods. It's just stuff that you don't think of in little old Princeton, Missouri.
No, not at all. But I would also imagine like there's been some things that probably, what did carry over from success in Princeton that did kind of work? I mean, are you active, involved in the schools like you do in your ILEC areas or things like that?
Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely partner with the schools, supporting things like their after prom, various sporting activities that you can sign up to sponsor so people see your logo, and other community groups. Like there's a men's group in one of the communities that has an annual festival, and so we sponsor some of the activities that annual festival. So people see your name up on the stage right next to the live band that's playing on Friday night, that kind of thing. I mean, being a good member of the community is important, and that's what we hear from people the most when they talk about our service is we see you around, and then being responsive if they do have trouble. We are not going to say we'll come see you a week from tomorrow sometime between the hours of 1 and 5. We respond if we hear from them by 3 o'clock. We have a response to trouble with a technician out there the same day.
Wow.
Or it'll be the next day. And we make appointments if people want to have an appointment. We're not going to give them a window. We're going to say the guy will be there at 9. And then we're calling them if he calls and says, hey, I'm running behind. I'm going to be there at 9:10. We're calling that customer. It's the extra level of care.
Support and care.
Yes.
Yeah. So looking back, what were some of the things you'd do differently?
Probably the biggest thing that I would say a lesson learned or caution is choose your partners carefully.
Okay.
When we first went in, we had a different engineering group. We had a construction group that we did not have prior experience with, and it was kind of ugly for a while. And then, of course, if you're overbuilding a whole city, that is causing all kinds of headaches for the city employees. People are calling them, complaining about somebody digging up the PPE in their backyard, or they don't like the noise of the boring rig and all the machines out on the road. There's lots of things that you need to make sure that you're communicating well in advance, that we've learned, and then also choosing who is doing that work for you. So now we have great partners, like we work with Innovative a lot in our systems. We work with Vantage Point in our engineering. We have Checkpoint on the website. We have local construction crews that already have relationships with the cities, and all of those things have improved the process immensely.
Gotcha. So more kind of making sure your partners are locked down, and again, that ultra sensitive touch with the cities that you're working with.
Yeah. I mean, everybody that is working for you is an extension of your brand, and every city employee that you work with can help make things go smoother the next time, or they can make it harder the next time. And if you're understanding and just talking to them, asking them, what can we do to help prevent this? If they're getting a lot of calls from residents, we worked out with Waukee that we would go through the entire neighborhood before we started construction and leave flyers that say, we are starting construction on this day. You're going to see our crews. The city is aware, and we have all the permits. So people weren't calling the city saying, are they supposed to be here? And
what's going on? Why are they tearing this up?
Yeah. And then talking about the benefits that they were going to get. A lot of them only had copper before that in the older parts of the city. So.
All right. So successful enough to succeed in the strategy, the mission that you set out for, helping you offset USF funding, I assume?
Yes. It's been amazing growth, probably nearly doubled the size of the company. And it's been due to the work of all the employees that we have, everybody that just jumped in and have figured out how to make things happen. And you got to roll with the punches when something new comes up that you're not expecting. And now we have a great group of long-term employees that are up there. They've built a great team. They are all proud to represent my fiber, and we get such great comments, the feedback from customers when they talk about the great install they had and how knowledgeable and friendly the technician was and how happy they are. If they do have trouble, maybe they need some more Wi-Fi coverage, so he goes to install an access point, then, hey, I saw the same guy. It's the same guy. And when they call into the office, they talk to the same CSR who remembers talking to them yesterday. It's very rewarding to see what has grown up there.
So is GRM looking at any other areas? Would you do this again?
We are not looking to start another new company. No. We are constantly growing up there. As the developers keep adding on new developments, new plats to the current developments, we keep up with them. And then, of course, we've got some BEAD areas that hopefully that is moving in both of our BEAD states now. And we are like this close to being fully fiber in the ILEC as well. So we don't
Amen.
stop.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, you guys don't stop. It's an incredible team you guys that got there. So one last question is, what any other advice you might give to anybody else either doing this or looking to do something like this?
I guess it just goes back to the things I've already said. Build your relationships with the area that you're going into and choose your partners wisely, and just have a good business plan in place. Know what you're going to do, and then be willing to roll with it, though. When life throws you some new opportunities in those areas, don't be afraid to grab it, because our first plan was just Waukee. We were just going to build Waukee. We were going to run that city, and now it's so much larger.
That's incredible. Well, Jenni, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for chatting with us, and I'd love to continue to watch what you guys do.
Well, thank you, Brian, for asking me to do this, and I appreciate being here.
That's a wrap for this episode of Broadband Breakdown. Got a problem you need advice on or a story to share? Reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay connected and keep pushing for progress in rural America.